I would like to know, when you are building these big products, so what are the best practices of engineering you are following? Is it all Scrum, Agile, Waterfall? I don't think anybody uses anything like that anymore. But just give me few tips, because what I am looking here is, if somebody goes in a company and he has to manage a dev team, and imagine there's no process, nothing. You have a bunch of developers and they're just writing code. What are the things you will establish there, right? And how things work in your own group, how you develop a product.
Okay, so I know this is there are people very passionate about process and everything. I'll give you a little bit an anecdote. I was fortunate to work on this product called Virtual Earth. In this Virtual Earth, at the time, I know, not throwing names, but Bill was very interested in this. So our team, we used to work very closely with Bill, even right from the authoring of the paper to showing him, bi-weekly, demos and everything. So we set a very tall goal for us that within 100 days that we are going to make this, it used to be maps.live.com. Before it was Bing Maps, it should be live maps. So we executed it, and I'll tell you, we hit it the 100th day, not going into the details. So on the meeting, in the final meeting, actually, we were showing everything, and we were doing high fives with everybody, and Bill was very happy, and he said, "Hey, what is the process that you guys used? Did you use Agile at the time?" This was in this is way back, 2006 or something.
Early,
like that. Yeah, very early.
I remember.
So at the time he asked, "Did you use Scrum and everything?" So I gave an answer. It is, I told, yes, we are using a process.
So he was interested even to know that also, beyond product.
Beyond product.
Like
so
what processes you guys are using.
Yeah, what processes are you using? So I told, I think we are using a modified Scrum, or that worked well for us, Bill. But in the end, I said that it is not the process. It is the committed people that made this work. A process is of no value if people are not committed to it.
True.
Okay, so that's why I always answer this is, I know when they call process, a process, you need to pick a process that the people subscribe to and follow it.
Yes.
Okay, and process cannot just become an overhead.
Right.
It cannot just become a checkbox. Did you have your Scrum meeting? Do you have an Uber Scrum? And but what is happening there? Are people just coming together and chatting? How exactly are they going? How is the backlog managed? Who is doing all? So you need to have a rhythm, and you need to have that expectation of what needs to happen. The things that I take a lot of pride and care in is, how is the design done? Okay, when a particular component is getting designed, that there needs to be a rigor, that there is a design discussion. Okay, we have a weekly design discussion that we run, and that I've been doing for anybody who who has worked with me, that they will know that there is a design meeting that where every developer tries to come. We try to expand it to the entire audience. Some people dial in and they listen to it. This is a way your younger generation actually listening to the new ideas.
True,
you know what I mean? They know who to talk to when they get into some kind of an issue and things like that.
Right.
How exactly you write, and important decisions, how are they made and how are they documented?
Right.
Okay, for posterity. You know what I mean? People need to know, because a year later somebody is walking in, they don't know why a code is written or a design is done in a particular way.
Right.
Those are the things we take very seriously. How actually we run our ship room. Okay, how you run your live site. Okay, there is one thing that I have learned early in my career from the best is, live site meeting is very important, and the senior the person actually cares about the life side, the product is going to be much better.
True.
Because people are going to really say, oh, somebody cares about this. You know what I mean? So the behaviors actually get reinforced.
And do your devs also have a pager now for life side issues, or it's a DevOps team?
So we have a DevOps, and we follow the DevOps, and actually there is DRI, directly responsible individual who has that duty for that week for a particular component.
Right.
But when he or she cannot solve that problem, they can pull other people in. It is a typical process in most of the people that run in. And the only one thing I emphasize in the live site meetings is, what have we learned from an incident that happened?
Right.
Okay? And what did we do so that if this incident happened again tomorrow, that we at least know it has happened, okay? And second time, it should not happen. Why we could not? There are certain things you cannot fix immediately. For the next day, probably next release you can do it. But how are you monitoring it?
Right.
Okay? And how do you know ahead of the time that you can go and fix it? So that I tell people, everybody, this dialogue of mine, people will always get bored of. I say that it's all about what have you done today to make your tomorrow better.
True.
Okay, and that's what the live sites is about.
Right.
Is what have you done in this live site today? What kind of discussions you have? What kind of decisions you made in this week are going to make your next week live site easy?
Right.
Okay, so in a way, all this encompasses process. So I'm not giving you a single thing.
Right.
No,
I understand. I'm seeing outside Microsoft that people become very religious fanatics about a process, and then they will wave the book at you that this is written in the book. In Agile we should do this, and in Scrum we do this. So and my answer is always this, that this process has to be changed, molded, and has to be flexible for the team, because the process is as good as the people following it, and it's not necessarily we go always by the book. And I seen in Microsoft, we never go by the book. We go by the team and whatever the team says. So actually, one good key point you said, which I think it's a good takeaway, is that you set the expectation and the rhythm that you will have the tech design review, you will have the live site issue meetings and things like that, and that takes care of, I think, most of the time of things happening. Cool, very good. So